this station.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people, write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that? What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Hello, and welcome to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Happy Monday to you. Today is Monday, June 5th. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I cannot believe it, but I am your host, Carol Riddick, and I'm always happy to join you. As you know, I am joined by the undeniably talented and incomparable Miss Kayla J, whom, as you also know, always makes sure that things run smoothly for us. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending some time with us. Again, here we are on this Monday, coming off of a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I did. Here we are in the beginning of June, as we continue to recognize and celebrate Black Music Month, thanks to our very own Deanna Williams and Kenny Gamble, and Cleveland's own DJ Ed Wright. Thank you to the three of them for Black Music Month. So, family, what did you do? What did you do this past weekend? Did you attend the Roots picnic? Did you? If so, did you enjoy yourself? Whose performance did you like the most? I want to hear all about it. I want to know all that you did. And if you didn't, I want to know that too. Tell me what you had going on this weekend. Y'all know I always ask. And it's Monday, so I really want to know because I've not, communicated with you in some days. So tell me what you've been doing since we last communicated. So I hope you're ready for another weekend of food and fun and all that good stuff because Odun Day is coming. Are you planning to attend? Odun Day is Sunday, June 11th. Are you planning to be out there? What do you have planned? I always ask you, and I'm always anxious to know what's going on in your world, what's going on in your life. Okay. I will say that I did not attend the Roots picnic. I was unable to do so. I was unable to go, but I heard that there was everybody that I talked with that did attend said the performances were just magnificent. So they were all happy to have attended. So I want to know about you, though. I want to know if you went. I want to know what you think, or if you drove by. Even I want to know. But you do know, as we get started, I like to check in. I like to do that. So call me. You can do that. You can call me and say hello. I like it when you share love. You can dial 215-634-8065, or you can call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. Hey there, family members who are listening but are not watching. I feel your love. And I need it today. I need a little extra love today. A little extra. Because my light is shining just a little dimly. So those family members whose light is also shining just a little dimly, just know that I'm sending you extra love and hugs as I always do, Hey there, family members on our socials. Hey, Nasir. It is so good to see that you are joining us, that you're here with us. Good evening to you and to yours. Nasir writes, good evening, Sister Carol and Kayla J. and guest. Peace and blessings. Good evening. Good evening. Always a joy to know that you all are sharing some time, some energy, and some space with us. Come on, family. I'm waiting for you to tell me what you did. I want to know. I want to know all. I want to know everything. Did you celebrate? Did you sit still? Did you do any gardening? Did you just walk? Did you mind your business? All that good stuff. I want to know. So, you know what I always do? Well, what I've come to do in the beginning of the time that we spend together. I like to share with you some of the headlines that I have read. I like to share with you what's going on in the world that has caught my attention because I like to know, what you think about it or how you feel about it. Hey there, Everton. Everton Smith is saying hello. Hey there. Hey, Everton. He's joining us on our socials as well. Everton, I want to know what you did over the weekend. I will share with you. So, Everton, you made me think of this. I will share with you guys. I think I shared with you all that I'm a big sister with the Big Brother, Big Sister organization. I took my little to see The Little Mermaid. I just love, the Haley sister. I don't know that's terrible. I love her so much that I don't know which one it is. That is Lord in any event. I think she's just the cutest little thing. And the movie, it was really cute. It was really, really cute. I had a great time. So there, I shared what I did. So back to the headlines. What's in the news? What caught my attention is a headline. I think there are about 5 of them that I'm going to share with you. So the first of which is group sues Mayor Kenny and officials over Columbus statue removal efforts. This reads, a group that fought in court to keep a statue of Christopher Columbus in a South Philadelphia park and to have a wooden box covering it removed has now filed suit against Mayor Jim Kenny and members of the city's historical commission over their roles in the effort to remove the statue. Y'all, let me tell you something. Okay, about that in particular, I'm glad they removed it. I was happy. I'm happy that they removed it. I was happy when the box was covering it. I don't want to see a statue of Christopher Columbus. I do not. Sharing my opinion. Now, I'm okay if your opinion differs because we can agree to disagree, but I'm curious to know what you feel and how you feel, what you think about the Christopher Columbus statue, and this situation. I do wish that the individuals that are fighting so much to keep this statue they were fighting so much to keep this statue. I wish they would put all of that energy into other efforts, particularly, the crime that is taking place in our fair city. The gun violence and all of that good stuff. I wish they would redirect that energy to an issue that I feel matters more. Quite honestly, I didn't pay attention to the daggone statue. It wasn't an issue until, we began talking about it and its representation. When the representation of the Christopher Columbus statue became a topic of conversation, then I said, yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't care to see it. But let's do something positive. Let's put our efforts, come together, put our efforts into something positive. Okay. I believe we have one of our family members on the line. I'm not sure. You might feel the way that I do about the Christopher Columbus statue. Are you there by any chance?
Yes, I'm Ron. How you doing?
Hi, Ron. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I heard you say you wasn't feeling well. Remember, Carol, what Mother and them used to talk about? It is better to light one little candle and to curse the dark. I know you like those candles.
I do.
Dark cloud. behind every dark cloud, there's a bright light. And I certainly hope that you feel much better. This weekend, I was very fortunate to speak to two groups of women, one from the Charles Bloxton Library, which we're doing work and we're going to be going in there. The other group was a group of elders that came over to the center that Temple University sponsored on the corner of 11th and Burks, and I really enjoyed myself in doing that. I always speak about your aunt, and I don't know, what a physical condition, but this can even go for you. I even heard you say, or anyone else that is listening, that sometimes your legs will be bothering you. Maybe this summer someone can sponsor, or either you, if you have the resources, to go to Atlantic City and get down in that sand by the water, that salt water run on your legs. And spend a day there and let the sun, I know people put suntan, so, if I can do that, and it will be, and cleanse yourself, and it can be very, very helpful, you and your health. But Cal, when I was speaking with some of the ladies the other day, and certainly they let Ryan do a monologue, because you say, wait a minute, Ryan, now you got off a little topic here. But I was so enthusiastic to hear what the ladies were saying. He was an elder women they were talking. One of them was mother and daughter, and they're up in age. A couple of them in different, Miss Mary and them listening. And your show in WRD is such a helping hand in the thought process. Because this station, everybody's not able to get out like myself, is still able to get out. And this station is a comforter. And your program, I'm not pandering, I'm only saying what it is. If you look at, since you've been coming on, and your program have been things of inspiration, in particular, life. And that life is love. And especially with our young people, the young people that you teach and all like that, and you engage with them. When you do that, Cal, what happens? That divineness in them, even though they're young, acknowledge the divineness in you. And when you take inventory with your life, you should do it every day to take some sort of inventory in your life. Mm-hmm. And look at all the things, the little obstacles that come your way. That's purpose in life. But I certainly, I am anticipating, or I call her auntie, but I'm ready for you to bring your aunt on. And I want to say something to her and the gentleman, if it's all right with you. Mm-hmm. And that's so important. And I look at them elders that I was around on a rub. I'm one of them too, so let me stop saying that. But what a wonderful, hey, we'll go ahead, Cal. Guess what one lady did? She grabbed me and hugged me. Guess what she said? She said, I'm looking for a good man.
Oh, Ron.
What? Cal, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Cal. So I gave her a hug, right? Yeah, but the lady said, Cal.
Oh, my Lord. Heavens to Mercury. Ron, you know what? You are getting me all off topic. Wait.
Oh, but anyhow, I had a nice weekend. But what I'm saying was that, Cal, in this life here, in our life that we have, Cal, you get my age and your family and everyone, Cal, it's a wonderful thing. And when I look at what's happening in the world today, we need to comfort one another. I'm not talking in relationship, anything like that. You're very fortunate, and your family is very fortunate. Auntie and them is very fortunate to have someone like yourself, and maybe the rest of the family, to care for them. Oh, caring is not just make a deal. Caring is forever and forever. And that's the most important thing that you can give someone, is to care for them. So I did get a little off topic. And I said people will call and to continue, because I say this, Cal is not saying this. Cal just love for people to engage with her. And I can tell that's why she a cup runner boy, when she had so much gleam in it and so much joy. It really makes Cal feel good. And also remember these words, ladies and gentlemen. What goes around comes around. Not negativity, positive. And may that light, Cal, continue to glow you. I'm sorry for getting off topic. But
that's okay, Ron.
Look at your history. You have already made history, ma'am. Out of all the hundreds of singers and singers that we have, any time that Maryland, South Philly Any time that Marian Anderson sung from South Philly at Washington, here you up in Harrisburg singing at the in the Capitol.
Oh my goodness, yes, I am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ron, thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you, and thank you for. You are absolutely right. I don't at any time want to give the impression that I am ungrateful because I have tremendous blessings. I am blessed. I truly am. I truly am. My light was just a little dim today. But I feel good, and I am fully aware of all that God does and for me. So I want to be clear about that. But some days, you just vibrate a little lower. Some days you do. I believe another one of our family members was calling in to join the discussion. Are you still there as well?
I hope so.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Greetings, comrades, sisters, and brothers. And how are you, ma'am?
I am well. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay, everybody, let's get it done. Whoa, you mean you don't like Christopher?
Let me tell you something. When I saw, first of all, you know how you have blinders. I never paid that statue any attention. I would drive by it. I drove by it for forever. It wasn't until it became a topic of discussion that I said, well, I mean, no, I don't want to see it. I don't see the purpose for it being there. No, I don't support it being there. But now, but it wasn't to the point where I was ready to go sue anybody or it just became irrelevant. It's a statue, but now I see that there's so many people that are up in arms, that are so bothered by this enough that they're fighting in court. What? I don't understand that. Come on, y'all. This is 2023.
Well, my position on Italian heritage is that I don't think Christopher sort of fits into that, but the United States has a lot of icons.
Mm-hmm.
And those icons are very, let's put it this way, somewhat dirty.
Agreed.
There's a bigger statue, by the way, out here. We got one standing on top of City Hall.
Oh. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
And some of these icons that we've been taught when we were kids, that's what you need to be like. Well, I don't know if I want to be like
Mm-mm. No, not at all. I know I don't.
And if none of you really heard about this fella, go around cutting off people's hands, arms, etc. It was actually an African was the aspirator to get the 3 little ships that they had out there in the sea coming in from Spanish Empire. Christopher wasn't exactly Spanish, but he was coming in supposedly for the King of Spain to claim land, and in the ultimate operation we had some real problems, and people got killed, a lot of them, out on the island particularly. I don't think he ever landed on the coast here, but on the island he wrecked them hard there. I can't tell you, the guy was something. Stuff that I had to dig through. I started digging up on Christopher back in 1960s, I guess, early 60s, when we stumbled over some reality. Yeah,
that's a harsh reality.
Oh yeah,
that's a real harsh reality. One that is not shared. It's not. I think that's the biggest issue that I have with it, because the biggest issue that I have is because so much of our history, Black history, has been distorted or filtered so much, and what has been put in front of our faces and force fed to us is stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm not saying anything with which anyone else cannot relate. I realize that, but here we are in 2023. And we've got people arguing about a statue about Christopher Columbus. No. Take it away. Burn it, if you will. Just get rid of it. Get rid of. Yes, I did say that. That was my own personal opinion. Get rid of it. That's how I feel.
Well, you know, Frank Rizzo's mural down in the sections that I ride through, I got called a moolie. That means a real bad name, you know, for black folks. While I was riding one night, but Rizzo's listen, Rizzo's mural isn't there anymore. No,
I didn't know. Mm-hmm. I remember Rizzo's mural. I remember the conversations about it. And I remember all of that. I remember the controversy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm happy to be in a day and age where there is a fight, where there are enough of us to say no, that this is wrong, and we're not going to continue to do it. So I am happy about that.
Mm-hmm. So we got to continue. Unify with everyone who is opposed to racism and strange stuff like Rizzo was doing. And I really think that Christopher Columbus would have really liked good old Frankie. And I really think a lot of Italian people finally got it together.
Mm.
Talked to some of the Italian folks, because I was shocked. I said, and rode through there a couple of times and said, where's this mural at?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Walked over, and people said, well, we're not about that anymore, basically. And there's a whole slew of Italians down there who aren't about that anymore. You know?
I love that. I love that. Again, I'm so glad that we have at least gotten to a place where here we are in 2023, that there are enough of us. There are enough human beings that, that are saying, no more of that. No, we're not doing that anymore.
The one that you're going to really love, the dude that's standing up on top of City Hall.
Oh. Oh, good old Billy. Good old Billy. Well, you know what? I'll take one battle at a time. I will. I'm grateful, to tackle one battle at a time. I'm grateful for that. Oh I want to thank you. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that opinion and that information. Now you got me all riled up about Billy. Don't get me. But I can't thank you enough for calling in. Family, listen. If you've just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online. Stay with us. We're going to take a short commercial break, but we will be right back.
Join us Saturday, June 10th for the 30th Annual Islamic Festival and Parade at Penn's Landing. Friday will feature a citywide Jumu'ah prayer service on the Independence Mall grounds. On Saturday, it's the Islamic Heritage Festival at the Great Plaza at Penn's Landing on Columbus Boulevard. Hosted by Moses the Comic. There will be performances from Neelam, Jamaluddin Takuma, the Universal Drum and Dance Ensemble, food, vending, children's activities, and more. Saturday, June 10th, it's the 30th Annual Islamic Festival and Parade. Saturday, June 10th at Penn's Landing in Philadelphia.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
In honor of Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, this is Blackademics.
Oh, freedom.
Some 52 years after enslaved Africans were emancipated, the United States witnessed a great migration of formerly enslaved Blacks from the South to the North. Many settled in cities like Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York, Harlem to be exact. This section of New York became the epicenter of the creative energy and artistic expression known as the Harlem Renaissance. To quote the Smithsonian, the Harlem Renaissance encompassed poetry and prose, painting and sculpture, jazz and swing, opera and dance. What united these diverse art forms was their realistic representation of what it meant to be Black in America, as well as a new assertion in our civil and political rights. The Harlem Renaissance instilled in many African Americans across the country a new spirit of self-determination and pride, a new social consciousness, and a new commitment to political activism.
If we must die, let it not be like hogs hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our cursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us though dead.
That's rapper Ice-T with a poem from Harlem Renaissance poet Claude McKay. The explosion of Black creative expression during the Harlem Renaissance greatly influenced American popular culture. Sound familiar? In later episodes, we'll investigate the culturally rich relationship between jazz and hip-hop and how many discounted the legitimacy of both genres.
All that jazz.
This Black Music Month vignette was brought to you by Pico, WXBN Artist to Watch podcast, and Posigen.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to the top of the second hour. Look at me at the second hour. Am I rushing? Where am I going? Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Family, I told y'all I'm a little off today. I don't know what's happening or what's going on. So I'm going to need y'all to send me a little extra help. Okay. The second hour in any event. I'm going to go do our socials for a moment. Everton wrote that he went to the Roots picnic. I was asking you all to share with me what you did over the weekend. So Everton, did you enjoy the picnic? And who was your favorite artist? What was your favorite performance? I should say that. I'm anxious to know. So fill me in. If you're just tuning in, we were talking earlier about some current events. And I was talking about the Christopher Columbus statue. Well, actually, I was talking about the group of people that are, that have taken Mayor Jim Kenney to court. I just think it's just ridiculous. But I am happy to know that we are in 2023 and that there are enough of us, enough human beings that are saying, okay, no more. We're tired of that whole thing and we don't want that to be a part of our existence. So the next headline that I keep saying headline. Well, in any event, the next article that I want to share with you, it reads, hundreds of white women gather at Colorado Capitol after plea from women of color to use their open quote, privilege, closed quote, to demand action on gun violence. I thought that was interesting. The article reads, hundreds of white women gathered at the Colorado Capitol Monday morning, with more expected to show up throughout the day to use their privilege, open quote, closed quote, in a silent sit-in to demand Governor Jared Polis ban guns and create a gun buyback program. I thought that was really interesting. Really, really interesting. When I read it, I had to read the article twice because I wasn't quite sure what I was reading. But I think that's really interesting. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? Or let me know if you don't feel one way or the other. The next article that I want to know your opinion about, it reads, teachers are split on whether carrying guns to school would be safer. So in Dover, Delaware, a new survey shows that teachers are split about whether arming themselves would make schools safer. It reads that 20% believe teachers carrying a gun would make schools safer, but 54% believe armed teachers would make schools less safe, and 26% feel they don't feel either way. They just feel that it wouldn't make a difference. So I'm curious to know what you think and how you feel. Do you think teachers should be armed? Now, again, this was a study done in Dover, Delaware, but I'm curious to know, do you think teachers, just period, I'm just making that general, should be armed? Do you think our educators should be armed in our schools? Do you think that they should be carrying firearms around our babies? I'm just curious to know what you think and how you feel. And let me know. Now, I've got more. I've got more because I was reading a few things. I do want to share with you that City Council approved the street renaming resolution sponsored by Council member Kenyatta Johnson to rename the 1300 block of South Street Kevin Parker Way. I cannot tell you how ecstatic I can't tell you and have you understand how ecstatic I am to read that and to know that. It's going to take place on June 30th. The street renaming will take place on June 30th. But that just makes my heart happy because I love Kevin Parker beyond explanation. And if you knew Kevin, well, you didn't even have to know Kevin. You didn't. You really didn't. He was just a beacon of love and light. So family, I think I'm going to check our phone lines to see if we have any family members that are ready to join the conversation with me. Do we have any of our family? Oh, I believe we do. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Hi, Miss Audrey. Is this you?
Yes, this is me, Carol. Good to speak to you.
Always, Miss Audrey, always.
Always. So I'm with you and Ken in regards to the Christopher Columbus statue. I'm so glad that our community has made a transition wherein it's not split. We're solid that it's not necessary, and we know that the reason why it should be removed is because there's no truth to it.
Exactly.
Fictitious. So you and Ken both had me laughing regarding William Penn.
Oh.
And yeah, you did. So then I went to sobering because, as you were saying, one at a time as far as us presenting an issue. So the issue I would present regarding William Penn being at the top of City Hall would be, one, what was going on with the indigenous in 1892, because that's when Mr. Milne, I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Milne, sculpted the statue. And then the fact that it weighed 53,000 pounds, it was put on top of City Hall in 1894. So the thing about Mr. Penn's statue, have you noticed, is surrounded with indigenous people. And there's so many stories that go to as to the female, is the female what Indian is she representing, et cetera, et cetera. So the symbolism of that, if it's about the continued oppression, then at most we should have the historical factor of it presented somewhere. Now, some kind of way, because when sculptors build something, they usually have some sort of script that goes with it. So my curiosity is, what was the script when statue was erected at that time and period?
That's a good point, Miss Audrey, because now that I think about it, I've never read anything with clarity. I've never read anything with any clarity about William Penn's statue.
No, I haven't at all. So, and what I wanted to know is, who is Kevin Parker Way?
Oh my goodness. So Kevin Parker was the restaurateur. He owned Miss Tootsie's on South Street. Miss Tootsie's was the restaurant that he built, that he founded, or in honor of his mother, Miss Tootsie. He also had a location in 30th Street Station and in Reading Terminal. Kevin himself, I'm so happy to know that they're going to rename the 1300 block of South Street Kevin Parker Way, because Kevin himself, he was such a giving person. He was such a giving man. And I'm going to share my own personal story. And my story is like so many others that I know that he did for. He knew my mother. He and my mother, they loved one another. And when my mother became ill, I was parking my car in front of the restaurant. Kevin drove up and he asked me, he said, "Where's my girl? I haven't seen her." And I told him that she was ill. And he said, "Yeah, you don't look so good," because I'd been caring for her. And I said, I'm okay. And he said, "So let me ask you this. How are you feeding her?" And I said, what do you mean?" And he said, are you cooking?" And I said, yes. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to take that off of your plate." Miss Audrey, Kevin made sure he sent so much food every day. He made sure my mother, well, it was more than my mother and whomever she cared to share it with, because she lived in the building, Casa Farnese at 13th and Lombard. But it made her so happy because he would send food every single day for her. She had food for every meal she wanted, every single breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack, every single day.
Well, it's certainly befitting for Councilman Kenyatta Johnson to remember this very special person. Not you have a memory of him, and so that means there must be many, many others that have that same feeling of joy and feeling less pressed for what we weren't able to get done on our own. Getting a hand along the way.
Miss Audrey, when I tell you at his funeral service, his service was at the Met. And we were all sitting there just sharing stories. We were all, well, he did this for me and he did that. And he did so much for so many people. And nobody knew. No one, which is, the way I believe it's supposed to be. We were all sharing our stories and we were all in awe that he did as much as he did for each of us.
That's wonderful. So when you walk on that street, you'll have a good memory. That's good.
Yes, I'm so excited that is taking place. I just want us all, to be happy about it, because he's such a beautiful person. He was such a beautiful person, just a beautiful person. And the restaurant, if you didn't have any Miss Tootsie's food, oh Lord have mercy. I say heavens to Murgatroyd. I had too much of it.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, Miss Audrey, and thank you. Family, I'm going to take a moment to go to our socials. Hi, Miss Lily. Miss Lily writes, "Good evening, Carol, Kayla J, special guest, and Word family. It's always so nice to know that you all are joining us. Those of you that are listening, and those of you that are sharing comments on our socials. It's always a joy. I promise you it is. I promise you it truly is. So I'm curious to know what you think about some of the things that I've shared with you. What do you think? What do you think about the teachers? Should they be armed in our schools? What do you think about that? What do you think about the groups that are suing Mayor Kenny and city officials over the Christopher Columbus statue removal efforts? I shared my opinion on that. But I'm curious to know what you think and how you feel. And what do you think about the women, the hundreds of white women that gathered at the Colorado Capitol on Monday to exercise their privilege in a silent sit-in? What do you think about that? I say in 2023, look at us. Look at what's happening. Look at what's going on. We're actually making some progress somewhere, right? We've got our allies coming out in support. I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do. Those who are standing up for what is right. I will always be an advocate for standing up for what is right. So I appreciate that. I do appreciate their efforts. They came out to ban guns and to ask that Governor Jarrett Polis create a gun buyback program. So I appreciate it. So thank you to them. What do you think? I am curious to know. Family, for those of you that are just joining us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are going to take a short break, just a short one, but we will be right back. So stay with us, okay? Because we'd love to see you when we return. Stay with us.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey is brought to you by Comcast.
When the weather heats up, everyone starts planning to hit the road. But for any time of year that you're traveling, here are some tech tips to think about. First, take a picture of important documents and store them on your phone. Things like your driver's license, passport, or health insurance card can be stored securely in the Notes app on iPhone or the Google Keep app on Android phones. If you're heading to a foreign country, download the Google Translate app and save that country's language for offline use so you can communicate even without an internet connection. And finally, make sure you back up any devices you're traveling with before you leave, just in case they are lost, damaged, or stolen. Here's wishing you safe travels and have fun. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
Did you know Henry Ossawa Tanner, the first internationally known African-American painter, lived and studied right here in Philadelphia? As the first Black student admitted to the prestigious Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, Tanner broke barriers with his innovative moving paintings and influenced generations of artists around the world. To find out more about the efforts to preserve his legacy and North Philadelphia childhood home, visit thetannerhouse.org. A message from the Friends of the Tanner House.
Word family, it's that time again. Our special early bird membership drive. Hi, I'm Sarah Lomax, Word President and CEO. We need your support now more than ever, especially this year when we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. For the last 2 decades, WURD has been the only place in Philly where our people can speak and be heard in their own voice every day, all day long. Your membership support has allowed us to expand our programming, deepen our community engagement, and provide culturally relevant information across all of our platforms, on air, online, on social media, and through community outreach events. If you're not a Forward member yet, please join or renew today at the discounted rate of $75. Visit us at wordradio.com/earlybird or check us out in person when we'll be at Odunde on June 11th, Word's Black Music Month celebration on June 16th, or for the Juneteenth weekend celebrations on June 18th and 19th. For more information, go to wordradio.com/earlybird. Thanks so much.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Family, this June, we celebrate Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip hop. with an insightful and entertaining event. Join us for Message in the Music, Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live, 3025 Walnut Street. This event features a panel discussion on hip-hop as a soundtrack to inspire or incite, a live music trivia game show with prizes, a cipher, and an open mic. Our featured panelists include Dr. Aaron Smith, Tame, Queen Joe, our very own Deanna Williams, and Ursula Rucker. If you love music, have opinions about the state of hip hop, want to test your musical knowledge, and or want to show off your talent, then join us on Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live. Admission is only $20 in advance and $25 at the door. So get your tickets now at wordradio.com. This Black Music Month event is brought to you by Comcast, Pico, Keystone First, and WXPN Artist to Watch podcast. So I'm going to take a moment, family, to go back to our socials just to say hello to our family members. Joey, hi there. Joey Dixon writes, peace, Carol, Kayla J, word family, one love and jazz to ya. So family, I'm interested. I know it's a Monday, but you all are a little quiet today. I mean, I talked with Ron and Ken and Miss Audrey, but I'm curious to know, how are the rest of you feeling about the topics that I shared? You know, before we start talking with our guests, you know, I like to check in with y'all. You know, I like to know what's going on in your life. I like to know how you're doing. What was your weekend like? Was it a good one? You know, was it, I like to know all of that. I like it when we share. I really do. I really do. Because I like to know what's going on with you. I sure do. That's why we're here on Love and Life. That's what we do here on Love and Life. And, you know, like I said, before we get our guests into the conversation, I want to talk with you. You know, I like to do a one-on-one. Have you been participating as of yet in any Black Music Month events? I'm just curious to know all of these things. Oh, the one thing that I did not share, you might find this a little funny. I read another headline. Here I go again with the headlines. I read another article. It wasn't a headline. It was an article. And the article read, red bus only lanes to be painted along Market Street in Philadelphia. Now, family, I know y'all are going to call me a little short. I know, and it's all right. It's all right. Because I said, now what is the red bus? What are the red buses? What are they? I want to know. I had no idea they were the tourist buses. But in any event, the article read, red bus only lanes are coming to Market Street this week as part of a PennDOT project intended to repair and resurface more than 40 miles of roadway throughout the city, which I think is awesome. But I was so stuck on the red bus. I said, what is the red bus? What is that? So I figured I'd tell you that, you know, it was a little funny on my part. Well, at least I thought it was funny when I realized it was the tour buses. I thought that was interesting. But I'm curious to know, because I know some of you are probably saying, Carol, you really are a little off today, aren't you? You didn't know what the red buses were? Well, no, I did not. I had to look it up to see what it was. But now I know. Now I'm aware. And now you probably know too. Some of you, I know you didn't know. But I do want to know, how's your day? How was your weekend? What you thought about some of the topics that I shared. Do you care at all? You can tell me that. You can say, Carol, I really don't care about that. I don't care to even talk about any of that. I don't care about that. I want to know that too. And you know that I do, because I tell you that I'm always interested in what you think and how you feel. So anyone that wants to call me, you can do so by calling 215-634-8065, or You can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. I am really anxious to know what you feel about the article about the teachers carrying guns to school. How do you feel about that? What do you think? Do you think that it's a good idea that teachers be armed in our schools? It's just really interesting to me. When I read the article, the survey, just the percentage of the teachers that believe that teachers should carry, there 20% of teachers believe that teachers should carry a gun into schools and that it would make schools safer. I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know, family. I don't know. You know, there are just so many variables, and we're talking about our babies here, and anything could happen. As we know, things happen every day. We read news stories about things happening every day, you know, in residences, in our homes. I can't imagine the possibilities if a firearm is brought into our schools. And, you know, from the conversations I've shared with you that I've had with some of our babies when going into some of our schools, some of our babies are dealing with a lot. I don't know. And I know. I get it. They won't have direct access to it. But what if they were able to access it? You know, that it's just a lot for me to process reading that article. So I'm curious to know what you think. Nasir, what do you think? Everton, what do you think? Miss Lily, what do you think? Joey, what do you think? Do you think our teachers should be armed in the schools? Family, those of you who are listening and are not watching, what do you think? You should let me know. I'm anxious to know what you think about that. If our babies should be, well, I don't want to say exposed, but you know what I'm saying. If teachers should bring firearms into the schools, I think I just think it's an interesting topic, how we got here. I know there's a lot going on, and I know we've been talking so much about what's taking place in our schools these days, but I don't know if we're there. I don't know. And I know some teachers would say that we are, though that I'm sure that 20% that said yes would say that we are. And as we know, some of our educators said that a lot of teachers are, they are under duress in their schools. And I just haven't had that experience. So, I don't know. And I'm curious to know, what schools are we talking? What age? Are we talking high school? Are we talking middle school? Or, you know, there's just a lot of variables there for me. But I'm curious to know. So let me know. Those of you on on our socials, you can share your opinion there, or you can call me, like I said, at 215-634-8065, or you can call me toll free at 1-866-361-0900. So in the meantime, I will let you know that we do have some new family members joining us tonight. We will have some guests on talking with us, sharing a very, very interesting subject matter. We will have both. Well, I was going to tell you their names, but I think I'm going to hold on to that. But we're going to talk about a lot of things that I think you'll have interest in, and I'm curious to know what you'll think about the subject matter that is coming up with our guests in the next hour. You see me. You see what I'm doing? I'm holding on because I know what it is. You don't want to start this conversation with me about these teachers and these firearms, because I know y'all, it's sensitive. It's a sensitive subject matter, but we've been talking about our babies so much that I'm feeling from you all that you're saying, that's too much to bite off. That conversation right now is too much to chew. It's a lot, because it is a lot. But I mean, if we don't talk about it, right? What happens? We don't talk about it. And then it happens. You know, a bill gets passed or something, and our teachers begin carrying firearms. See, it's because the conversations don't start. So I'm curious to know what you think and how you feel. So what I will do I may as well. In the next hour, we're going to have two wonderful women come and talk with us about adoption. I think that I'm anxious to talk with them to hear where we are nowadays in 2023. Are we still what the statistics are? You know, what's going on in that arena. They are two magnificent women who've been working with the Bethany Christian Services, for a very long time now. And they're going to come and share some information with us and educate us on everything that they've been doing. And they're going to talk with us about what life is like for teens who outgrow the foster care system, and what life is like for children who are currently in the foster care system. They're going to educate us on a few things, but we'll definitely talk about that specifically on our socials. Everton has responded and is saying to me that no guns for teachers, only the security guards. Huh. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for responding. Thank you for responding to that request. So Everton writes, no guns for teachers, only security guards. I am in agreement with you, Everton. I don't believe our teachers should be armed. I think there is too much left to chance if they are. I really do. So what we're going to do, I was so hoping to have that conversation with you all, family. I was so hoping, but that's all right. That's all right. Because we could have that conversation at any time. What we're going to do is clean our palettes of all of these articles that I've shared with us. And we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back at the top of the next hour, we're going to meet our lovely guests. So stay with us, okay, family? Because we'll be right back.
In honor of Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip hop, this is Blackademics. Give me a beat! The thing that frightened people about hip hop was that they heard people enjoying the rhythm for rhythm's sake. Hip hop lives in the world, not in the world of music. That's why it's so revolutionary. That's a quote from legendary drummer Max Roach. Before we dive into hip hop's 50-year history, we need to understand its foundation. The roots of hip-hop, like many other musical genres, are planted in the soil of African rhythms and oral traditions. According to contemporaryafricanart.com, in Africa, drums hold a deeper symbolic and historical significance. They herald political and social events. They are used as an alarm or call to arms, stirring up emotion for battle and war. Drums are about communication. For centuries, the talking drums were a primary source of communication between tribes, used to transmit messages, sometimes across great distances. When Africans were enslaved in America, the drum continued to be an important form of communication across great distances. These rhythms still speak to us today.
They praise the music. This time they play the lyrics.
Legendary drummer Max Roach.
So the term rap music is not applicable to where they are because they deal with the spoken word. The fact that they have that rhythm going on attracts people, so everybody is now become part of the dance community. So somebody said it's rap music. But actually, it's the art of the spoken word. It's what they're dealing with. And the stories they tell, they talk about their life in our community today.
This Black Music Month vignette was brought to you by the NAA Male Wellness Agency, WXBN Artists to Watch podcast, PICO, the Pennsylvania Lottery, Keystone First, Posigen, and Comcast.
We're bringing joy and power to the people. This is Word Radio, 900 AM and 96.1 FM, WURD, Philadelphia. Celebrating 20 years of progressive Black talk media. Streaming online at wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
This is your celebration.
I love WURD because WURD loves Philadelphia's Black community. Because WURD is the voice of Philadelphia's Black community. Because WURD is the brains of Philadelphia's Black community. And because WURD is the brawn of Philadelphia's Black community. This is Attorney Michael X, the angriest Black man in America. And I wish WURD a happy 20th anniversary.
We're celebrating 20 years of progressive Black Talk Media.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. Welcome now to the top of the second hour of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. I'm anxious for you to meet the guests that we have coming in. But before I introduce you to them, I want to go to our socials because our family members have shared some information. Hi there, Ms. Julie Audrey Ward Carnegie shares, greetings, everyone. She found details of the William Penn statue. She writes, no letter accompanied the statue that arrived on the ship. That's interesting. No letter accompanied. That's interesting. Lola Khan writes, good evening, Word. I tried to call in. Oh, no. I'm sorry to read that. I'm so sorry to read that. Well, I'm going to share the number, 215-634-8065. Or you can call us toll free, 1-866-361-0900. Nasir writes that it's a very touching situation, but he does not believe that teachers should be armed. I, too, do not believe they should be armed. There are so many variables. There's so much to consider. Just so much. And our babies are delicate. As you know, we as adults are delicate, but our babies, especially and particularly, it's too much. It's just too much. I want to take just a moment to go to our phone lines for a quick second before we move forward. One of our family members is waiting to join us. Are you still there?
Hello?
Hi. Hello. How are you?
Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
I will not complain. Do you hear me? I will not.
What I called to answer your question about the teachers, about teachers carrying arms in school. I think no, because, when you look at the courthouse, they do not allow you to carry armed guards in there, I think there should be more security. All the schools should have security, like in the inner city schools, our children have to go through this, what you call it? You go through and it'll ring, what you call it? They have it at the courts too.
Oh, I know what you mean when they pass through the security system.
Yes.
I can't think of the name of, but I know exactly to what you're referring.
Yeah, and you had to take your stuff out your bag and all that stuff. If the buzzer go off, they ask you, okay, what else do you have in your pocket? I think that should be, because you don't have some of these teachers shooting for no reason at all. So I don't agree with the teachers having guns in the classroom. I think it should start at the front door, and they should have security doors all around the school, even on back door. If someone open that door, the alarm will come on. So that's a better way.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really do. I just feel like there's too much left to chance for the teachers. Yeah, we talk about the mental well-being, the emotional well-being of the teachers, and you just don't know. You just don't know. Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
But Carolyn, when my son, they went to private school, but when they got in public school, it was different. But I remember, I'll never forget, my son went to class, and he's tall. He's a football player. He's big. And the teacher called me and said, oh, he's giving me trouble. He's late for class. I said, wait a minute, sir. I said, he's a nice kid. So when I talked to my son said, Mom, I went to the wrong class. My roster was wrong. wrong. So when I went to parents' night, he said, "Oh, when I seen him, I seen trouble." I ain't say nothing, Carol. I was angry because I know it was racism. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
when they tall or when it big, they think they a threat. You know? So no gun.
no, I'm in agreement with you. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Because I was curious to know. I said nobody. I was so curious. Thank you. A family. I believe we have another family member waiting on the line to talk with us. Are you still there by any chance?
Yes, Carol. How are you? It's Lola.
Hi, Miss Lola. I am well, thank you.
Good. Well, I was listening to you because I'm unfortunately I've been working all day and I'm working on this brief or whatever. But I was just hearing bits and pieces, and I heard you weren't feeling well or something.
No, I said my spirit was just a little dim today. My light was just a little dim. I feel wonderful. I feel wonderful physically. You know, you just have some moments. I was just having a moment today. Just having a
Well,
moment.
yes, that's why we all have to be here to lift one another up. And we're listening and we care about you. So so I called and I said, oh well, sometimes we all every day is not going to be a great day, but I think once you talk to people and listen to people and stuff, you feel a little better. So I hope you're feeling better after you listen to the callers.
I am. I sure am. I am. I hope you can hear it because it does me well to talk with you all and to share. So thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, no, of course not. We can't have guns in schools because we haven't dealt with the problem of racism in this country. So did you see the video where the teacher, the young boy in Iowa, was walking out of the class and the teacher just said, "What are you looking at, N-word?" He was just walking out of the class to go to the bathroom, and the man, he's profusely apologized. He was a white man, and of course the student was black. But where did that come from? Literally, if you see that, you can just pull it up when you get off the line or whatever, and it says, white teacher calls black student the N-word, and they were filming. One of the other students picked up the phone and filmed it. So, we haven't dealt with this problem of racism in the country. So then we're going to have teachers who are armed. And I've called here before and said that teachers, one of the jobs that is not appreciated is teachers because they're being beat up, disrespecting and everything in the classroom. And I totally agree with that. But then therefore now, instead of outside shooters coming in to shoot up the building, we're going to have shootouts in the building. Because people now, when they feel, when someone comes at them and fights them, which they have no right to, Carol, don't get me wrong, no child at all in school has the right to hit a teacher. No way. But then they're going to have the gun and then kill the child. So I think that there should be repercussions, expulsion, suspension, going to some place to get anger management out of the school or something of that nature, but their life shouldn't be taken. So, and not just with the racism that goes on, with black teachers too, because teachers, Carol, are fed up and they're tired. Okay. And, my aunt and them was a principal, and but she's retired now, but the kids and the parents were different. She was saying, she said she didn't even know if she could hold up in today's society because it's such, she still deals with some of the other principals in this association she's in, and they come in and some of them are in deep therapy because of what is going on in the classrooms. And people become teachers because it's the love of the craft. You know what I'm saying? Going into it, they're not getting paid $1 million. They're not even getting paid $100,000 or whatever what they are worth. So they love what they do, and some of them do love the children, but they are treated so badly. And then the parents now are also come up and speak to them and cuss them out and everything. So it is a very precarious situation to say that we should have guns. People, temperament, Carol, is not right. People are off the hook for anything. Remember back in the day or whatever, if somebody stepped on your shoe or something like that, it might be a little scuffle or whatever like that. But if you stay or look at somebody now, they are likely to shoot you. You can't, I just do not feel that the classroom in this day and age, especially after COVID and everything that's going on in this country, guns are the last problem. We have to deal with teaching our kids, getting them back into some type of manner system, some type of manner code, being respectful. Black people have to take, I'm telling you, I keep saying this, But we have to, Black parents, the village, we have to take a hold of our children. And don't talk to them when they acting bad. Maybe you see a little kid walking down the street. Hey, how you doing? What's going on, little? Hey, what's going on? Get them when maybe they're not acting up. Let them see, I'm looking at you. I see you. So when they do act up and say, hey, what's going on? They might be a little riled up, but maybe they won't cuss you out because they know, well, she's not just coming at me when I'm bad. She has spoken to me before when I was just walking down the street or acting okay. Carol, we have to get back involved. I'm telling you, are we going to lose this generation? We're not going to have, people are going to have to really be forced to homeschool their kids if teachers keep leaving the profession the way that they're leaving the profession. I do not believe in that. And I just want to say this one last thing, Carol. I don't know if you touched on this, but the little boy, not the little boy, but the boy who was shot on I-95, of course, he was white. Then they have this case in Colorado where a white boy was having a manic episode or whatever, and he was in his car. Long story short, the cops shot him. Their family was awarded, not too long ago, $19 million, the largest settlement for a case of a shooting. Now, they didn't even have to protest. Look it up. You can look it up.
I am.
Boy in Denver shot the cops. They kept telling him to come out the car. He wouldn't come out. He was started having anxiety and a manic episode or whatever was going on with him. And they said they felt threatened, so they shot him. And but they got $19 million without a protest, without this even being publicized. So, and then the white boy in South Philly, he was 12 years old, and he was shot at the cops, but then they shot him. And then then the white boy who shot the Temple cop. You don't hear anything negative about them, no matter how bad, what they do, or how, what they do and come into our community and do. But if it was a black boy who made a mistake, we see their faces, even when they're juveniles, their faces are plastered all over the screen when they're supposed to be juveniles and they're not supposed to be plastered on the screen. You don't even see it. And then they talk about how nice and sweet they are when they're white and stuff like that. I mean, this is absolutely insane. If you're coming in at 3 a.m. doing all this mayhem and stuff, I mean, come on. I don't wish any harm that any child should be murdered or shot. But you have to understand when you're breaking the law that these things could happen. And I mean, look that up, $19 million. But we have to protest. We got to shout. We got to sweat. We got to fight, even to get someone arrested, and then to get that big settlement. When, I mean, it's just insane, Carol, but I just wanted to speak on that, and no guns in the school.
I'm in shock. I have to look this story up because that one got by me. Thank you for sharing that with me because I most certainly am going to look that up. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Lola. Oh, family, I believe we have one more family member waiting to join the conversation. Are you still there? We may have lost her. Yes, I believe we have family. If you've just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. I want to introduce you to some new family members that we have joining us. We're going to start a new conversation tonight. We've been talking last month, actually. We talked about mental health in it. And when we opened that gate, we talked about so many things and went in so many ways. But at the core, we've been talking about our babies. We've been talking about our kids. We've been talking about the challenges that they've had and that they continue to have. And one topic that we did not touch was the foster care system. And in thinking about it, it was just a decision to find out what's going on with our foster care system and just pretty much how it works, all of that good stuff. So I'm asking you to join the conversation as we have some family members join us tonight. Both Miss Heather Bert and Miss Carrie Eckhardt are here to join us from Bethany Christian Services. Welcome, ladies. How are you? Welcome to Love and Life. I'm excited to talk with you, to have this conversation, because as I was just sharing with our family members, and I don't know if you heard me say so, we've not really talked about the foster care system. And I, for one, I don't really know. Like, where we are now with foster care. I know at one point in time it was a conversation, and now I don't know. So I'm sorry. Let me be quiet. Hello.
Well, thanks so much for having us. And that was just great to hear that conversation too, right? And because in some ways, Carol, it all ties together, right? Kind of what all these systems, education system, juvenile justice system, it all ties together with what's happening to these young kids. And I think it just was really powerful to listen and listen to your listeners who are really right on, because these kids are really overrepresented in all of these systems. And that's something that I would say with over 30 years of experience connected in the child welfare system. And I just, as I was listening to your last listener, was just kind of blown away what she said. I wasn't aware of that story either, the Iowa story or the $19 million settlement. So I'm going to be looking that one up too. So
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We are passionate. I'm so sorry to have interjected. I'm so sorry. I get it. I am a passionate individual. And when we start talking about our babies,
yes,
and so Miss Lola was with whom we heard from, who was talking about, who shared that story. And when I tell you, we've had conversations lately about the mental health state of our kids, and what's happening and how we can help. But it just feels like our cup runneth over nowadays. There's just so much, and when you talk about the foster care system, I can't even imagine, how now that the world is trying to, like, I don't know, get to I believe, get to what would be considered a state of normalcy in our new normal, this COVID compromised existence in which we live. Like, I just can't imagine what it is that you all are working through, working with, and dealing with. So I was anxious to have you come and talk with us and share some of that with us. Share, about the foster care system.
Sure. So I think between Carrie and I, maybe what we can start to is just explain maybe kind of how kids enter the system and some of the reasons as to why. Really, I would start with the goal of, the goal is to keep families together, really. And, the goal of foster care is really reunification. And I think that that's something that's really important for your listeners to hear is, everybody's working to keep families together. And there's a lot of reasons as to why kids would enter the system. Safety oftentimes is the initial kind of reaction as to something has happened within that family unit to cause a child to be removed from the family. It could be, homelessness. It could be, neglect. It could be some form of kind of abuse that has to be investigated. And so then a child is placed with another family while that's explored and goals are set. But, it's really important that everybody understand that the goal really is to get those kids back with their biological family. Right. And so right now we were looking at the numbers and Carrie, I think we there's about 3,700 kids in Philadelphia. It's just over 3,700 kids there right now that are in foster care, but there are a lot of kids that still need homes.
Yeah. When you say that, because that was going to be the first question I was going to ask, like what would be, some scenarios or instances. But now I'm curious to know, two things of that number, the 3,700, what the age range is, or if you have any idea of that, and also, like for a child to be placed in foster care, like how would that happen? Who makes the call for that to happen? I don't know if I'm asking that correctly or properly. Okay.
Yeah, so I can kind of speak to the first question related to the age and the needs of the kids that we're seeing. I mean, the majority, we actually just recently had a town hall with our foster care families, and the majority of the kids are between the ages of 15 to 18, up to 21. Actually, kids can remain in care if they are willing to until the age of 21. And then below that, it's kids 10 to 15. And then we see it's a small percentage of kids under the age of 10, and even a smaller percentage of kids that are, toddler age or younger. So most of the kids are older. And of those kids, we're seeing that around 75% are what we would consider specialized behavioral health or treatment level kids, meaning that they may have a mental health diagnosis or need ongoing therapy services. I know you've talked a lot about mental health. And so that's something that we're really seeing is those kids that need that added level of care. And so our families go through a process to get certified to be able to provide that treatment level foster care for those kids, because that's the bulk that we're seeing right now of the children. So,
yeah. And I would say this too, and then I'll answer the second part of your question. But when you think about kids in the schools, when you think about kids just who have experienced trauma, one of the things that we like to say about Bethany, and I would say about any of the organizations that are providing foster care, we talk about being trauma informed or trauma responsive. Anytime a child has had a break or a transition from a family, right, that they have experienced trauma. And so, whether it's mental health or, a loss, a significant loss in their life, that creates trauma. And so, we talk a lot in the field about, instead of what's wrong with you, what's happened to you. So kind of shifting the thinking, because a lot of people are like, what's wrong with that kid? Whether it be a teacher or a doctor. So it's really, the field has really moved to say, okay, what's happened to this little person or this teenager, right? To know that it's not their fault. Their behavior is a response to what has happened to them and the circumstances. So that's really important to understand, sort of the whole idea of being trauma responsive is these kids have been through so much, right? Like we have kids who, have maybe had 10 or 12 placements by the time they're 8 or 10 years old. As adults, like think about what that would do to you if you've known 10 or 12 different homes, different routines, different ideas of where do I sleep? How do I eat the food? That would be so impossible when you think about these precious little kids and they're trying to shift their behavior and get to know different people. So agencies are really trying to help families understand, how do you just really come alongside and meet these kids where they are. In terms of who makes the decision, it really is, we kind of talk about a 3-party system in Philadelphia, meaning DHS has what's called a central referral unit. And then there's, I'm getting really technical now. It's called the Community Umbrella Agencies. And so KUAs, if your listeners out there have ever heard of the KUAs, they care for the kids, and then you have providers that have the foster families. And so we work together to meet the needs of the kids. The greatest need that I would say across the system is more families. We really have a desperate need for families.
I actually have a question as it pertains to the families, but what we have to do right now is just take a short break. So family, stay with us because we'll be right back.
Music is my heart and soul. It's more precious than gold. Turn on some music.
This June, we celebrate Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip-hop with an insightful and entertaining event. Join us for Message in the Music, Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live, 3025 Walnut Street. This event features a panel discussion on hip-hop as a soundtrack to inspire or incite. There's a live music trivia game with prizes, a cipher, and an open mic. Our featured panelists include Dr. Aaron Smith, Tane, Queen Joe, Deanna Williams, and Ursula Rucker. If you love music, have an opinion about the state of hip-hop, want to test your musical knowledge, or want to show off your talent, then come join us on Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. You'll even be able to sign up to become a Word member. Make sure you do that
before you do anything else. Be sure to join us on Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live. Admission is $20 in advance and $25 at the door. Get your tickets now at wordradio.com. This Black Music Month event is brought to you by Comcast, Pico, Keystone First, and WXPN Artist to Watch podcast.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Word Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio newsletter.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We are talking with both Heather Bert and Carrie Eckhardt of Bethany Christian Services. And we're talking about foster care. We're talking about the foster care system. Well, that's what the conversation started. So we're talking about a few things. But before the commercial break, you shared the number that you shared, the 3,700. That's a lot. That's a big number. It really, my heart goes out to all of those babies. But the thing that I was thinking about when you were talking, and I want to make sure I say this delicately, because I was sharing that I don't know anything about the foster care system, but it saddens me that the majority of the stories that I see, they're always the bad ones. You don't always see good stories, about foster care. So I'm always thinking, I know that the effort, you stated the effort is to get the children back to their families. That's what you were saying. What what efforts do you all make to do so? Because I'll tell you where my mind is right now as I'm thinking about the child being in foster care and having a traumatic experience with a foster care family. What then happens, when you're trying to place the child back with their original family, especially if the child has been removed from what would be considered a challenging or traumatic scenario or situation?
Yeah, so our role is really with the family and providing support and case management. But DHS and, as Heather mentioned, the community umbrella agencies, they are making a lot of efforts with the families of these kids. Okay. As Heather said, for a child to be removed from their family is just devastating. And so there are a lot of efforts made to be able to return them. And the goal is as quickly as possible, right? And so I heard a statistic years ago, or a fact, there were some studies done on childhood losses, and the greatest loss a child can ever experience is the loss of a parent. The second greatest loss is separation from a parent. It doesn't matter what type of parent it was, it's any parent, the separation. And so we work really hard to support those efforts. Sometimes that means that we're helping get children to visits with their parents, so that they're seeing them or their siblings or others in their world. And so those efforts are being made, to try and help those parents along with their goals. There's very specific goals that are typically set, whether that's housing or whether that's parenting classes or different types of screenings or things like that the parents need to do. But the goal is for them to be returned. The other thing that we're seeing a lot of is kinship placement. So if the parents aren't able to care for the kids at that time, the different people involved will be looking to say, is there an aunt? Is there an uncle? Is there a grandparent? Is there a sibling? Or even we have some kids where they're kinship placements, even though they're not technically related, because it might be someone that child knows from school, or they have a relationship. It's their friend's mom or dad, that type of thing. So those are the efforts that are made, because the goal really is for those kids to be returned as quickly as possible. So we're very supportive of those efforts.
And I want to be clear. Oh, I'm so sorry to interject.
No,
I just want to be clear that I applaud what you ladies do. I applaud you for all that you do, all that you have done, and all that you are doing. I'm just, because I know so little, and that's why I said I want to ask my questions delicately, because I don't in any way want to be insensitive to what you do or to give you the impression that
they're good questions, Carol.
Well, I just want to make sure,
So they're good questions. I would say, so we don't make those decisions, right? The court's involved. If the court came to the place where, for whatever reason, the family was not able to meet those goals, and it's over a certain amount of time, that goal needed to be changed to adoption, right? And, that would be, they've worked really hard and they've moved in that direction. We try and keep the kids. So if there's a foster family, if the child's with a family, our families, we educate them to be supportive of birth families and those kind of things. But we also try and do what I would call a parallel process, right? That if a family, the foster family would be the first resource that we would look at, right? If the kinship family is not able to adopt and there's nobody within the family, right? Because you want to keep kids with their families first. The second place we would look would be the foster family, because the kids know that resource. And then if that's not a resource, then we would look for an alternative resource to adopt that child. Because again, you want to limit the transitions that kids have to make. I mean, that's always the goal, is limiting the transition. So again, we could talk for hours about the whole process, but certainly it would be the courts that would be deciding, along with those that were involved with those birth families, as to, what is the right next decision for those kids in terms of safety and connections. But again, we want to limit trauma that kids go through. And so we would say, if the kids could stay where they're at, then that's the right thing. So it could be a kinship. I mean, Philadelphia has done a tremendous job in really moving towards kinship and keeping kids with family members. So I
love that idea.
Yeah, I really do. And I think it's really, I can't remember the latest report, but they've actually have more kinship placements than they actually have non-kinship placements. And I think when you look at what is best for kids, I celebrate that, because again, my history has been, I've been around for a long time, and that was not always the case, which I think is really, really important for kids.
So I'm curious to know, with regard to the process and the goal of placing a child in care, is there like a typical time frame for a child to be in foster care, or?
It's a hard question. I mean, there are kind of these markers, right, Heather? It's around, the goal is that there be some sort of permanency within.
I know. It's so hard.
I felt that.
I mean, again, it depends on, Carrie, we talk about this, right? Like sometimes it goes quicker, and sometimes it's just really dependent on how families are reaching their goals and how the court systems are, and those kind of things. I mean, it's really, I mean, there is really not a unique, I mean, they're all unique. It's like
Right.
some kids are, we're fighting because you feel like, why is this child in care so long? Right. Like it's, and there's a piece of me, the systems are broken. Like I, if you want me to give you the existential statement that I would say is all of our systems are broken and not working together. Like I use this, I think it's an African proverb, right? Like what we really have to do is we've made the mistake of, not looking at the right place. We need to look, down, like what's happening that kids are entering care in the first place, right? Like, because if we could fix that problem, right? If kids are entering care because parents don't have housing, or because, there's not enough diapers, or there's not enough food, or those kind of things. So we need to look at a more preventative, instead of removing kids really quickly, how does the community come together? Because that's really where the solution is. So if you want me to, like, I'm a big picture thinker, right? Like, what are we doing that so many kids are entering care, right? And we have a serious mental health crisis on our hands right now, right?
Oh, we do.
Post-COVID. We really do. And so we don't have enough providers. And, I was listening again, as you guys were talking about guns in the schools and those kind of things. And, kids are responding, their behaviors is an outward, exhibit of an internal problem, right? So, and if people don't know what's going on, I mean, trauma, can show up like so many things, right? It responds in a different way. And so our country really needs to look at what can we do? And I will tell you, kids of color are so overrepresented in so many places. And foster care is definitely one of those places. So, I think we all need to get to the table and brainstorm, because that's our concerns.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But what do you mean overrepresented?
In the system.
There's an abundance.
There is an abundance of, we've got our Latino kids, or, our Black kids, and that's part of our challenge, right? Is, and then we've got our kids that have significant mental health. And, we get referrals for, I think we had over 600 referrals in a 4-month period of kids that we could not place.
Oh my!
And yeah, just in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Really?
And that's that. So that tells you, like, there's a systemic problem of, these are kids, and again, they're babies that need a place to go.
Oh my gosh! So I'm curious to know how does one become a foster care parent, or I'm not sure how you refer, a care person or parent, or how does one become a caregiver in the foster care system? Like what qualities do you look for, or all of that?
Yeah, we actually, I know you were asking kind of about the terminology we use the term resource parent, because they're a resource for that child
Thank
at
you.
that time. So that's one of the terms we like to use at Bethany. And we try to keep the process as simple as possible. We offer information meetings multiple times a month that families can attend and learn about the process, learn about the kids we're seeing, learn about how to go from start to finish. And then after the information meeting, you'd fill out an application, we'd get you set up for training, have a conversation with someone just to make sure, we always want families to really understand the needs of the kids, and to be coming in with the right mindset for that. And so there's training and there's paperwork. People talk about the paperwork, but we try to keep it, like I said, as simple as possible for families. And then we do a home study process where we do interviews and talk about the needs that a family feels prepared to manage. And so, it is something we desperately need families, especially families that are really kind of open to those older kids, especially teens, kids with mental health struggles, that are really able to step into that space. There are additional services for those families. They'd be considered a different level of care, those kids. And so we provide additional support and services and all kinds of things for those kids and those families. Yeah. And the training is really good is what I'll tell you. You know, we try to really make sure families are as prepared as possible. Like Heather has talked about, just looking at it from that trauma informed lens of being able to say, okay, I see this behavior coming out right now. Like, where is that coming from? Because it's not just coming from nowhere most of the time. And so families that are really able to just kind of step in the gap and say, you know what, we'll meet these kids where they're at. So, but yeah, there's information meetings. You can find them online. So
yeah, I would say it's not easy, but I would say key kind of characteristics are flexibility, being able to reduce your expectations, having a sense of humor. Like,
that was number one.
Right. Being able to laugh, being able to not take things personally.
Yeah.
So when things kind of go a little haywire, knowing, and when a kid is kind of pushing back, knowing, okay, this is not about me. This is about their trauma. Right. I think those are some things, you know, being able to just love a kid for where they're at, I think is really critical. Because if this is about you, I just had this conversation with somebody today. We all have our stuff. Like we all have had stuff. Many of us have had our own trauma experiences, right? And so I use an analogy. It's kind of like your baggage meeting a kid's baggage and coming together. And so then you're unpacking it together. So you have to be, right? So you have to sort of be able to leave your baggage at the door. And know that you just have to meet the kid where they're at and be okay with that. I think
that's a good way to put it. Heather, that was the best way to put it. That was really a good way to put it. I think that's something that can be said to educators as well, because, you know, dealing with the same thing. But in any event, wow, this is so interesting. I'm curious to know, well, we're about to go to commercial break, but I do have this one question. I'm going to pose it, and when we come back, we'll talk about it. But I'm curious to know what services are available to those who are interested in becoming a foster care parent, but are afraid to do so. I know you were saying there are resources available and programs. So I'm curious to know, like, what kind of programming or what is available to help just massage that feeling of a little fear or uncertainty for the one that may be interested in becoming a foster care parent. But again, we're going to take just a short break. So so we can all take a moment. Family, stay with us because we'll be right back.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Word family, it's that time again. Our special early bird membership drive. Hi, I'm Sarah Lomax, Word President and CEO. We need your support now more than ever, especially this year when we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. For the last 2 decades, WURD has been the only place in Philly where our people can speak and be heard in their own voice every day, all day long. Your membership support has allowed us to expand our programming, deepen our community engagement, and provide culturally relevant information across all of our platforms, on air, online, on social media, and through community outreach events. If you're not a Forward member yet, please join or renew today at the discounted rate of $75. Visit us at wordradio.com/earlybird or check us out in person when we'll be at Odunde on June 11th, Word's Black Music Month celebration on June 16th, or for the Juneteenth weekend celebrations on June 18th and 19th. For more information, go to wordradio.com/earlybird. Thanks so much.
Pollution from trucks is a public health crisis. Diesel-burning trucks belch dangerous levels of pollution, and communities living near ports and along freight corridors breathe especially high levels of this dirty air. But this crisis has a solution. My name is Sasan Sadat, and I work for Earth Justice. I'm working to clean up our air quality, particularly for communities that bear the burden of diesel pollution. For the sake of our lungs, our health, and our climate, the future of trucking in this country has got to be zero emissions. Until then, I will never rest.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. Family, I'm going to remind you once again that this June, we celebrate Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip hop with an insightful and entertaining event. Join us for Message in the Music, Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live, 3025 Walnut Street. This event features a panel discussion on hip hop as a soundtrack to inspire or incite, a live music trivia game show with prizes, a cipher, and an open mic. Our featured panelists include Dr. Aaron Smith, Tame, Queen Joe, Deanna Williams, and Ursula Rucker. If you love music, have opinions about the state of hip hop, want to test your musical knowledge, and or want to show off your talent, then join us on Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live. Admission is $20 in advance and $25 at the door. So get your tickets now at wordradio.com. This Black Music Month event is brought to you by Comcast, Pico, Keystone First, and WXPN Artist to Watch podcast. I just want to go to our socials for a moment and read the comments from some of our friends. Miss Lily writes, "Thanks, ladies, for a heartbreaking but necessary dialogue pertaining to the foster care system." Miss Lola writes, "My heart aches for the children in foster care being abused. The work the ladies are doing is amazing, and all the other people doing good work." Ms. Joanne, hi, Ms. Joanne Dorman writes, "Good evening, Carol, Word family, guests, and listeners. Children in DHS are coming from trauma before they arrive there. It's difficult and sad, but it is with a kinder heart, and it is what souls need. It still means the village in decent humanity." Before the break, and I'm looking at the time, because I see we've got so little time left, but I was asking the question about those who may be interested in fostering a child, but just have a little bit of fear. Are there programs in place or what resources available?
Yeah, so each family, when a child is placed, we make sure they're assigned a case manager, and that their job is really to support the family with the way the system is, particularly in Philadelphia. To be there as questions come up, to support them. They also will be working with a KUA who has responsibility for the child. So we do everything we can to collaborate with those two organizations together. And then if families are doing treatment level foster care, or specialized behavioral health foster care, that case manager will be in the home more frequently. And there's additional training and skills that they'll bring and supports. We help with parent coaching and different things just to kind of help parents know how to identify the needs of the kids and what to be working on. Because sometimes you're so overwhelmed by everything. So the case managers are good about kind of saying, okay, let's focus on this area right now. And they just do a really good job. I'm probably a little biased, but I would say we've got the best case managers out there. I get to oversee that team directly right now, and they're a bunch of rock stars. They're just amazing and just really care very passionately for their families and the kids that they're working with. And then through Philadelphia, there's a number of different family-based services that can be implemented in the home, different types of therapy, counseling, evaluations, different things. So as Heather said, there is a mental health crisis right now. And so it's a little trickier to get services in place. Sometimes there's wait lists, but our goal is always to work with the CUA organizations to get those services in place as quickly as possible. And then we do offer support groups and different events and ways for families to connect with each other, because that can be a really helpful piece too, is just not feeling so alone in it. So.
Oh, I love hearing that. So one thing that just popped into my mind, one question, is about, say that a child is put into the foster care system and then is placed back with their family. Does it end there, or are there still programs or services to help the family maintain? Depending on the situation, of course. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, those cases are followed until they feel that they can close them, but usually there's still continued support and goals. And a lot of times, even before a child comes into care, there's services that can be implemented. So those are things that, the city will do to try and stabilize before a child needs to come into care. There's actually programs that really focus on that we're looking and hoping to start in the area soon, that really are geared towards maintaining the family structure as much as possible. We're starting it in a county further north, but it's called Home Builders, and the goal that really is to keep the family unit intact. So
I'm looking at the time, and I want to make sure that our family members who do have an interest are able to reach you or contact you. So would you please share with us some contact information or how we can find you?
Yeah. So if you go to our website, there's an inquiry form there. That's probably the best way, because that gets tracked through our system. And they can get families signed up very quickly for an information. As I said, we try to offer them at multiple different times to make them convenient, whether you're working or, some people work at night. So an evening would be hard. So we have daytime availability for those. So that would be the best way. It's Bethany.org. So it's www.bethany.org. /Philadelphia would take you directly to our page. And then our office phone number is 215-376-6200. So those are the most direct ways to get in touch with us.
I can't thank you enough for that. Bethany.org, family. And I did not remember the number. Would you mind repeating that for me?
Yep, it's 215-376-6200. So 6200.
Yeah. Thank you. So ladies, I'm going to ask, is there anything you would like to leave us with before we end our conversation tonight?
Yeah, I think we did not talk about kids aging out of foster care. And I think that is one of probably the most heartbreaking things that we see. Is it's a pretty significant number of kids that age out of foster care. And I put it like this. I've got 3 kids, 24, 21, and 16. And I can't imagine those kids not having any place to go. And the statistics are pretty harrowing of what happens when kids age out. They are higher rates of homelessness, of substance abuse, of having a pregnancy where those children end up in the system, of incarceration, of ending up in the sex trafficking industry. So it's really scary, of not being able to get an education themselves. So when we talk about kind of the need to wrap around these kids, that's one of the other pieces. Having been, Carrie and I have a collective, I don't know, it's over 45 years of experience now in the child welfare field. That's one of the things that's really hard, right? Is that it's not just about being a resource parent to the kids in foster care. It's about what happens to these kids when they age out of foster care. And, so it's something else to think about. And just the other thing we didn't talk about, and I know we're short on time, but is the amount of kids that right now are waiting to be adopted. They are legally free for adoption. It's I think the number is about 114,000 across the United States that are legally
114,000?
Yeah, children that are legally free. Now, these are kids that would have been in foster care, that their rights are terminated. They're legally free and are waiting for a family right now. So you may see, commercials, right? AdoptPAKids.org, right? So these are just kids that are waiting for parents, and yes, they may have some needs and those kind of things. So, it's just, again, raising awareness and, So again, I just pose that question, not what's wrong with them, what's happened to them. I think that's a key. And one of my other favorite questions that I like to ask people is, we can all do something. What's your something going to be? And, so it's just, yeah.
Wait, we need some t-shirts. I love that. I love that. And I'm always one for rephrasing, because it just changes your mindset when you ask things differently, when you phrase things differently.
Because Carol, not everybody's going to sit here and say, I can run out and be a resource parent, right? But maybe they know somebody that is, and they can buy groceries, or they can do their laundry, or they can make them a meal. Right. And so it's all about, what kind of impact can I make in the life of a child or a family today? And so that's what drives Carrie and I, is that we know that every day we're going to get up and do whatever we can, because it has been, always will be, about kids.
My Lord.
It's really important.
And if I could just share a story that's semi-recent, we have kids that you hear about, kids aging out, but it's cool when we see them have that home base. So we have a situation right now where we have a youth who's going to be, actually she's been in a resource home where they've just loved on her and cared for her and met her where she's at. And, it's not always easy, but they've been there. And she's going to be going off to college in the fall. And I love the fact that even though this will no longer be her resource home, when she's on a break, or it's summer, or it's Christmas, and she has nowhere, she's going to go there. She has that home base. And you think about those years of support that this family has put in, and to talk with a worker who knows her and hear them say, wow, like that's amazing. And, Lord willing, and we pray that continues for her. But for her to just, you think about not having anywhere to go for holidays or Christmas, or if you're struggling, or you've gotten a bad grade on a test and you've got nobody to call and talk to about that. And so these kids have that when they're able to be in a home. We do believe that family changes everything for our kids. And so we see that, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's just one of those stories that you hear that, and she's not being adopted by this family because the situation in her case isn't one that would allow for that, but she still has that space, that home, that family. So
I hate that I have to interrupt you ladies. Will you come to visit us again, please?
Sure.
I mean, my heart, listen, I can buy groceries. I can cook a meal. I can wash clothes. I can do all of those things, quite honestly. I just can't thank you enough for coming to share your time and your energy with us. I want to say that the number is 215-376-6200. If you too want to call, or you want additional information, and of course the website is www.bethany.org. That's O-R-G. Family, you know what I always say to you. I thank you so much. I extend my utmost gratitude to you as you continue to support Love and Life. Thank you to all of our callers. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the conversation on our social media. Thank you to our guests. Special thanks to our guests, Heather, Bert, and Carrie Eckhardt, for sharing your time, your energy, your space, your knowledge, and your attention with us. Thank you to Kayla J. Thank you to Niall Jax. Family, okay, before I go, I'm going to say it. We are all in this together. So please be good to you, but be good to those around you. Please, please. And be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I love you. You have a good night, everybody.
Thanks.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician.